Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Raw Recap on the Pro Wrestling Sheet. So much going on in the world of wrestling, not even on Raw, but on social media. We're not going to talk about too much about it, but Rollins has been having a lot of words about the WWE versus other federations and going up against other wrestlers on social media. So if you're not watching that or reading that, you should definitely do that. And I know my co-host here, Ryan Satin, the CEO of Pro Wrestling Sheet, they're going to talk about it on Thursday night on Wrestling Sheet Radio.
We'll talk about we'll do a deep dive on all this on Wrestling Sheet Radio this week. But yeah, man, I love everything going on. I love watching all of this. I mean, yes, sometimes the anger on social media can be too much, but when it's the WWE champion just going out there and like throwing fucking bombs everywhere, I'm like, all right, I'm into this. Like, let's watch this. Let's see how this unfolds. Especially, we put it up on the site this morning.
Yeah.
But like the fact that Seth Rollins went out there, it was one thing when Road Dogg and Drew McIntyre were doing interviews defending WWE on programs run by WWE contracted talent. But it's another one, Seth Rollins, who's like the WWE champion, is going out there and he's straight up talking about Jon Moxley and the things he said to Sports Illustrated, talking real, serious about everything that's going on and how he feels about, some of the things that Jon Moxley said, and basically implying that Jon Moxley didn't do the things he needed to do to get where he wanted, saying like, that he should look in the mirror and make sure he did everything that he could have done to get what he wanted, all those kinds of things, which was very interesting to me. So yeah, we're going to talk about it all on Wrestling Sheet Radio. We're here for Raw.
We are.
I thought it was a good show.
Yeah, I like the show.
There were things I'm going to pick apart, obviously. Sure. Overall, I liked the show.
Yeah, I agree.
But this whole edict of the commercial breaks not having wrestling in between really is jarring for the viewer, and just like, it doesn't make sense from a viewer perspective at all to me. And we'll get into it. We'll get into each one. But to me, the commercial stuff, which is weird, and maybe it's just the producer in me that overlooks it, but those commercial break format change thing has really made parts of the show maybe turn me off from it. Yeah,
it kind of messes with the rhythm of the show.
Well, just, I guess, and okay, cool, change, whatever, but this isn't a good change. This isn't a change for good, and we'll get into each specific one. But like, people going back to back in matches doesn't make a lot of sense in the ways they're presenting it sometimes. Yeah. Like with the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens thing, or like with Alexa Bliss when she wrestled in a singles match and then a tag match. Yeah. And no explanation of like why she can suddenly make a tag match, why she was putting back-to-back matches when she already won. Like a lot of times when they do the whole like, someone came in, match got broken up, now it's a tag match. At least someone comes out, the match didn't end. The match didn't end already, usually the match hasn't already ended, and then someone someone comes out and says, oh, this is now a tag match. Right. But the fact that it ended, someone came out and they come back from commercial break and there's a match now. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
They rely on Michael Cole to say what is happening.
Which is just weird because I don't know. Maybe it's something I just need to get used to, but I really didn't like it last night.
All right, well, it's something they're trying new. Speaking of Seth Rollins, he leads off Raw here, coming out, talking about his victory at Stomping Grounds over Corbin, thanks to the help of Becky Lynch. And no sooner does he start talking about this than Becky Lynch comes out and interrupts him. And he even says, hey, you kind of interrupted me here, honey, and they have a little bit of a back and forth. They get back on the same page, and then Corbin comes out, and then Lacey comes out, and they have Lacey comes out and attacks Becky. They go at it in the ring. Seth pulls Becky off of Lacey, and Becky pushes Seth and goes right back at Lacey. Then Corbin comes in, and they have all battle, and then they have a promo off where they say, okay, we're gonna fight at Extreme Rules. It's gonna be a mixed tag match. And it's for both titles, which I don't know if I've ever seen before. So I found
the two top titles like that. Not to my recollection. I could be wrong. I'm not a historian, but it's definitely not a recent memory.
Yeah, this looks fantastic. This isn't like title versus title. This is one side has all the titles, one side doesn't, and whoever wins could be Corbin winning. Lacey doesn't even have to pin Becky to get the women's title. Very interesting scenario.
Or vice versa.
Yes, exactly.
Lacey pins Becky
do the women's right, and that's that.
Corbin's WWE champion, which I love.
Yeah, I think and I want to get your thoughts on all of this, but I think they're laying this groundwork of the breakup between Rollins and Becky.
I was thinking the same thing. I was on that same page that I hope this ends with her decking Seth or something like that.
Or her getting pissed as Seth costs her title.
Yeah, something
There's
along those
Becky
lines
loves
too.
more than that title.
Because we need some of that edge back to Becky Lynch a little bit. But yes, okay. I thought this segment was great.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, in my different people I was talking to, but a lot of people didn't feel this way. A lot of people seem to not like this segment.
Wow.
And I think that it's to do with some of the people that are feeling the same way about Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans that some, have felt with like a Roman Reigns, where it's like these people are just shoved down our throat type thing. But I actually think, and I know you've gone back and forth when it comes to Lacey Evans. But I really liked this pairing of the two of them. Yep. I think it makes sense. They are two legit heels who are getting heat. Yeah. Like whether some people say, "Oh, it's go away heat," I don't know, but people hate them.
Yeah.
And they want these people to be booed. They want whoever's opposite their two top champions who are faces. They want them to be booed.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. They're both strong heels. I'm into it. I liked this segment. I thought that Seth agreeing to whatever stipulation it was going to be didn't make a lot of sense. But whatever. I like this new cocky Seth that is really like towing the line as almost a tweener almost of just like doing whatever he wants. And I'm into this current Seth Rollins, especially with all the stuff he's saying on social media. He's really backing it up where he's like, no, this is how I feel. I'm the top guy in the company. Yeah. And he's really rolling with it. And I like it. I respect it. And it makes me like his character. In fact, the burn it down thing, I was never into it because it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. But now watching everything he's doing in his current run, I'm like, all right, now it kind of like, he does kind of embody that, and it does kind of make sense to me. So I really like this segment. I also, backtracking a tiny bit.
Okay.
I had no problem with the main event at Stomping Grounds.
No, it's great.
I thought, and maybe it's because I predicted it was going to happen here on the show, but I very much thought it made sense what they did with Lacey.
Yep.
I thought she added to that match. I think that if it had just been Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins with a boring guest referee, the main event wouldn't have been that exciting. However, I think that adding Lacey did add some fun elements to it of her cheating the whole time. And you're just sitting there like, oh, I can't wait till Becky comes out. And you all, the second she was cheating the whole time, you knew it was going to happen. But right when the nut shot happened, okay. Yeah. You can't hit the man's nuts.
I remember sitting there watching it on Sunday, and as soon as she did that, I was like, okay, come on already. And I'm counting down the minutes. I'm like, how long are they going to drag this out? Then she comes running. And there wasn't even the playing of her song. Yeah. She just came running down, which I thought was an interesting choice. The fans went crazy. It all went down. I liked it a lot. I thought Corbin wrestled really well in this match over the weekend. And so to me, as I've been saying on the show a few weeks now, he's won me over. And not that I'm like cheering for Baron Corbin or anything, but I think he works. And you're right. Maybe some people think he's got go-away heat. But I think a lot of people don't like him, period, and he's working as a heel, and it works. Lacey's a good heel. She is young, so she's going to have her missteps, the stumble to the ring stuff. You're going to get that. Yeah. That's a nerve-wracking situation.
Totally.
You're young, you're going against these veterans, you're being put right in the main event spotlight, but I think she handled herself fantastically as a heel in that match. And so to see her come out here with this situation, it works as well. Her and Corbin are a good combo because she helps Corbin be a little bit more over, and Corbin adds a little more fire to Lacey. And I like that combo. So it's possible that anything can happen. Look, I truly believe they're going to put the strap on Corbin at some point. Right? I mean,
do too,
just to piss off the fans, if nothing else, because they love to do that, because you're going to keep coming back.
Even if it's a short run.
Yeah, and it will be a short run. Because you can't say, okay, after this, you don't get another shot at the title. Lord God, Charlotte's had the shot at the title 9 million times. So there's no way Lacey's not going to get another shot at the title. So the smart way you do this is you give them the belt. Then at SummerSlam, they go and have another massive tag team, maybe inside a cell or whatever, and it's for the belts as well again. And this time they win it back. So I think that's certainly possible. And Lacey having the women's title, it's not a negative thing right now, but the way she's built up into it.
I agree with you completely there. And I'm intrigued to see where this match goes, and it's going to be Extreme Rules. I think that it's going to be good. I'm with you. I do think Corbin's going to win the title at some point now. He's been involved in the title scene for too long now. It's too easy for him to be able to do it at the next pay-per-view without even pinning Rollins. I think it makes all the sense in the world. I think it makes all the sense in the world, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be funny.
And it'll push the division of this union that all of a sudden, you want to talk about being forced down our throats, that's being forced down our throats. The Becky-Rollins relationship. They're highlighting it so much, they've got to implode it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't feel this way.
Uh-oh.
But do you feel like, okay, because there is like a section of the fans of wrestling fandom who, do prefer a more macho, product, where they don't like women's wrestling, There is a portion of the audience. I mean, that's not like that's a secret,
Sure,
There are people who don't think that the women should be in the main event, that the men should be in the main event.
Probably couldn't run a mile, but okay, yeah.
But, there is, I mean, let's not pretend that there's not a portion of the audience that doesn't feel that way,
fair.
right?
Yeah, sure.
And probably a larger portion than most would come out and say, feel internally but not say, because it's like, it's 2019, you can't say that, right? And I'm not saying I'm one of those people at all, but there is a portion of the audience that feels that way. And do you think for those people that this sort of emasculates Seth Rollins a little bit?
Having your girlfriend be as tough as you are should...
Not the tough as you, but having to save him, cutting him off.
Oh, that kind of thing.
All those kinds of things. Because the champion, the top guy, as he's been saying, he needs to be the leader guy.
Right.
Do you think that his girlfriend running the show will make him lesser than in the eyes of those fans? Those type of fans?
Well, here's the thing. You asked me to go into the mind of a person who feels this way. Tough to do, because I don't. I love women's wrestling now.
And I do too, but I do feel like there is
I'm sure there is.
From what the tweets I get and see,
Right, I'm sure there is. And those guys are either misogynists or they don't understand how to handle a strong woman.
Correct.
So I could give a shit about their opinion. That's honest truth. But that being said, will they feel that way? Probably. But they're not the contingent, or they're not the fans that WWE is going for now. Going onto Fox, going onto mainstream, they don't want those fans. Those fans to them...
Well, they want those fans too.
Well, yeah,
they want both.
They're not going to cater to those fans. That's for damn sure. With their top people. They're not. Because they've got to look progressive. Even no matter what they say behind the scenes, they got to look progressive. Letting Becky come out and interrupt Seth, that's all progressive. They're equal now. And watch Seth come out and interrupt Becky. That's going to happen. Maybe even tonight. Maybe Becky has a promo. Seth will come out in the middle of her promo, and it's like a balance now.
I feel like if he does that, then he looks like a dick.
No, I don't think so at all. I think he's
like cutting off his girlfriend, not letting his girlfriend talk,
just like she did to him. I think it's their relationship that they're both strong people, so they each understand each other, and it's a ball busting situation. Because Lord knows, Becky on social media is a ball buster and a half.
I think it's the exact same thing on that side. Let's say that were to happen.
Yeah,
there's 100%. A division of the female fans who would see that and be like, that's dick. What the fuck? You can't cut off your girlfriend when she's in the middle of talking on TV.
I could see that.
I honestly believe it goes both ways. It's not just... It's not just... So I don't know.
So you think it emasculates either way?
Kinda.
You do think that, though.
No.
You do. You brought up the subject. You got to be able to own up your opinion. Do you think it emasculates him? I don't think it emasculates because my woman is tough as shit, and if she interrupted me, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. Your girl is tough.
No, it's not that I think that. I just think that, I look at it from like a business perspective, not so much my thoughts, but the majority, and I see the tweets on my end of like what people say to me, what people say to the wrestling sheet account, what people are just saying on Twitter in general, and I do wonder. I'm not saying I think that.
Right.
I am saying that I almost wonder if it's dangerous putting them together like that because
I think they're going to
I don't know if it makes them stronger together. I do think that it kind of makes them kind of like they have to be on equal playing field, like you just said, and Becky cutting him off and speaking on his behalf and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I do think that there is a division of fans who look at it just like a woman would look at it, and rightfully so, if Seth was doing that to Becky.
Right. If Seth did it to Becky, because it's a different construct, right? Because it's a patriarchal society. So if a man cuts off a woman, that's a person in power, in essence, in the society, punching down. And with Becky cutting off Seth, that's an underserved, historically underserved section of society, that being women. So them getting a little, pushing a little farther or cutting off or being more, that swings the pendulum back and evens things out. I don't have a problem with it.
I don't either.
It's great, but I understand the what you're telling me that people think this way.
Yeah, I think
it's lame.
One of the things I was just taught that I always stuck with me when I've said it here before is that like I just look at everyone as independent revenue streams, and not that I do. I feel like that's how Vince McMahon looks at everyone. Each one's an independent revenue stream, and I don't know. I feel like if you're trying to build this guy up as like the leader of the company, and he's getting told what to do elsewhere, it doesn't necessarily make him like look like a leader. But I mean, I'm interested to see where it goes.
I'm just trying to think historically. Have there ever been like you couldn't see Stone Cold having that, even though Deborah would come out with him all the time. I don't know if she ever did anything like that, cutting off Steve. The Rock never had a woman with him.
And I'm not saying it's bad.
Hogan with Elizabeth, I guess, a little bit, but she never cut him off.
Well, Macho never had Elizabeth.
No, Macho.
But I'm not,
respect to Macho.
And those were different times.
Yeah, right.
And I'm not saying that it's bad to have a strong woman doing that with you. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm more just wondering if long-term effect status, if it does affect the way he's viewed to some people.
Right, which is why I think they're going to implode this thing.
He let his woman talk to him like that. There's people who feel like that. You've been out with guys like that. Like, you're gonna let your girl talk to you like that, John?
And I'm not friends with them after that night. Usually I cut them off. I'm very good at cutting out toxic people. You look at this
like that guy who sent you that bad picture that one time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cut him off.
Done. I don't care. What was the thing you were talking about with this emasculating situation? Well, we'll see. But I also want. But there's also a contingent of fans who think this is not a real relationship. There is a contingent of fans who think it's being played up for the cameras. They're not that in love. They're not that. It's not that strong of a relationship. I've seen those tweets as well. So I wonder. I think they've got to eventually implode this situation because I don't think they can keep them together. It's a weird product to have the male champion and the female champion be together in a relationship and have it play into the situation. It can work for a few months like all angles do, but I think eventually they will implode them. And last night was a hint of how they're going to do it.
It's possible. I like that way of going that way because I honestly think it would add edge back to Becky.
Excellent. To both, I think. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be into it.
It will end. It will end. Whether it ends in real life, I don't know, but it'll end certainly as an angle. Let's move on. I'm sorry. Tag team stuff going on. I'm still getting over this shit. The Revival and Daniel Bryan.
You're always sick over here, Rocha.
I'm not sick. I'm trying to figure it out.
Right on cue right there.
Sorry about it, guys. The Revival, Daniel Bryan and Rowan, they took on the Usos and the New Day. This was an awesomely fun match. Great wrestling from everybody involved. And in the end, and what we're doing the elimination thing again, which I kind of enjoyed. Did you not like it this time either?
This time, here's the deal. Like, it works when you're doing these like elimination style things a little bit better.
Okay.
For the viewer, at least. Right. Because at least for the viewer, I don't see the commercial break anyways. It does. But
good point.
But I do think that for the people who are there live, it 100% puts it takes the like energy out of the match.
Okay.
Like I saw it. I was there last week when they did it and they first started doing this. And I realized it doesn't come across the same on TV. So whatever when in this kind of match, but like the people who are there.
Yeah.
They're like pumped in the middle of this match and then all of a sudden it's a break.
Yeah.
That's weird. Like wrestling's gone on for a long time and I realized there's rounds in Europe back in the day or whatever, but I just feel like, I don't know, the most popular form is you just watch the match. And I don't know how, to me, so-and-so being eliminated, we're back after the break. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't mind it as much here as I did in other parts of the show.
Okay.
But I do think that for the people there, it 100% sucks the air out of like the energy out of everything.
Okay.
However, match was really good.
Yeah.
I think that, I'm loving Daniel Bryan and Rowan as a team right now. They're awesome. And yeah, overall, especially the whole Rival versus Usos last kind of like when they came back from the break. Overall, yeah, great match. The match itself, what was on TV, I loved. Yeah. It's just that commercial thing is bothering me.
Okay. Yeah, all right, fair enough.
What'd you think of the match?
I loved it. I thought it was top to bottom one of the best things I've seen in a bit. And you're just seeing 8 really good wrestlers going at each other constantly, pulling the moves that they did. And the eliminations both worked. They weren't like haphazard. How I felt the heavy machinery loss was, in my opinion, over the weekend at Stomping Grounds. I thought that was haphazard. Didn't like that ending. Good match. Didn't like that ending. And I thought these were both eliminations were earned, and nobody lost here. Like Eric Rowan and Daniel Bryan losing doesn't take the shine off them. And the Revival now doesn't take the shine off them too, because that was a damn good match with the Usos. And the Usos really have come along. So it's like, I'm buying that shirt today, by the way. So that kind of situation, I'm a fan of and I want to see more of, because that's how you counter people complaining that your tag team division is weak.
I agree.
Or they're not focusing on them. You do great matches like this.
100%. Yeah. And I feel like the past couple of weeks, the way they've positioned the Revival.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Has been night and day.
That's how you sign. You go, okay, we're really going to focus on you. All right, if you say so, I will sign. And this is how you do it. We'll see how long it lasts.
We'll see how long it
But
lasts.
I certainly am
indeed.
enjoying them, and I'm starting to enjoy them more in a way that I didn't before. So I like that.
Absolutely. And I just, between Extreme Rules and this match and some of the other ones, I do feel like the WWE roster is a little bit like, all right, MFers, like, let's do this, you know?
So the result justifies how this came about. The AEW stuff, the anger online, all the complaining. Look at the product of the last few weeks. It heard the complaints and it's made the adjustments in a way better than they did at the beginning of the year when they
said we're going to make changes.
Exactly. And give us time. Bullshit. You don't need time. You need better matches. And they've done it. So
it's funny. James and I, who works on the side with me, McKenna, we were literally having the same discussion yesterday where it's like, everyone's like, oh, WWE sucks. Everything WWE sucks. And no one's giving them credit when it seems like they actually listened and made some changes and are trying to put out a better product. And it's still like the cool thing to just be like, oh, WWE sucks. But like, it's been really fun the past couple weeks. It's been a good show. Like it had a little slump after WrestleMania, but it always has a little slump after WrestleMania because the build to WrestleMania, they put so much effort into it. They're kind of on autopilot for a few weeks afterwards,
What did you call it when we did our rage culture? Is that what you said? The internet
outrage culture?
The outrage culture does not have that other gear that's like, oh, they've listened. Right. They don't because then you take away their power in the outrage. And when you do that, they can't outrage anymore, so they have to keep going.
But what drives me crazy?
There's no marketing money.
And that is honestly, Rocha,
having outrage saved.
What has driven me the most crazy about outrage culture is that it used to be spurts of it. It'd be like everyone was outraged about this thing,
and sometimes legitimate
change would occur from it. Even Daniel Bryan, outrage occurred, got him there, but then people got like drunk on outrage. And it's like, well, now we're just gonna be outraged on everything, and everything always has to change. And it's become this crazy cycle. And you're right, 100%. They like, as someone who runs a news site, it's like, I've seen the news cycles, everyone's outraged about something until the next thing to be outraged about comes along, and they've already forgotten what they were mad about. They just wanted to be mad about something.
Right.
And you're right. Like when the thing that they were mad about flips or anything changes about it, they don't go like, all right, cool. They're like, oh, no. We're mad about this now. We're mad about Seth Rollins saying Will Ospreay looks like is not as good as Ricochet. And so I don't know. Like that's why it's a great way of putting it. They really don't have that like. No. It feels like the people who are constantly outraged don't have that like mentality to like. Okay, that was cool.
Yeah, and I think that's the unfortunate thing because there are things to be legitimately outraged about. Once you get the result that is positive to change that situation, you should celebrate that and thank the person for being, or the company for listening to you. And then when something else pops up, okay, if it's a legitimate thing to be outraged about, then go get outraged about. There can be actual change, but you have to take the moment to savor the change, not just move on to the next thing and get angry again, because you're finding false power in that. There's no real power in that because you're not running anything.
Babies.
Right, and you're not running anything. You're just complaining all day long. And it belies a powerlessness in your life. That's where it comes from. Well, speaking of powerlessness, Drake Maverick is in a situation of powerlessness right now in his relationship and with the 24/7 title. As predicted on this show by this man right here, they were going to work the 24/7 title.
It seemed like it was inevitable.
Yeah, into the marriage situation.
I wasn't the only one saying this.
I'm sure. But they worked it into the situation. And I watched this video over the weekend. I thought it was brilliant. So well done.
I was talking to Ryback about it because I do his podcast every week too. Yeah. I loved the like horror movie element of that video where like he's so happy, it's like best day of his life, like gunshot, like what's up, me and my title, and he got to the end of the aisle when he's leaving and just had like the camera over the referee's shoulder, and he just has this like look of terror, like he just saw like Jason or something like that, like Jason was standing at the end of his aisle and just like, no, not on my wedding, and then he got rolled up for the pin. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
And was it Michelle? What's her name? Michelle?
Renee Michelle.
Renee Michelle is playing into it so well,
good,
saying that she wants a divorce. I thought it was a little too far to go on that butt.
She tweeted during the show about it. She tweeted during Raw too and said like, we were supposed to be on our honeymoon now, but of course you're focused on the 24/7 title.
And I think if I didn't know she was a wrestler, like you told us last week, I would have thought, oh my God, what is this all about? But the fact that she understands the angle, and God, that's so great to have a woman who understands the angle to play along with. It's so fun, and Drake does a great job with it. And they interview him and talking about his wedding, and he's lost everything and blah, blah, blah. and then all of this breaks out here. It just was really well done. I'm loving what they're doing.
Yeah, well, first I want to talk about, since we got to give props to R-Truth here too in this segment.
Yeah, because Miz
TV brings out R-Truth and Carmella. They're talking
suspending the rules at 24/7.
Yeah, and they're doing everything, and he's classic stuff, the 48-7 European Championship and all that kind of stuff.
God.
And then, like you said, when Drake comes out and talks about how it's like, it's ruined his marriage, and the part where he said, "I haven't even consummated the marriage yet," and he said, "Take fiber for that or whatever," and he was like, they were like, "What?" And he was like, "No," he said he hasn't consummated the marriage yet. And Carmella, I love that Carmella corpsed on this one, and even she couldn't contain herself. It was like SNL where like she couldn't contain herself, and even she was just like dying laughing, and and Drake gets all angry, and she's cracking up. No, he means consummated, and so good, so good. And then I loved how it was like Miz, as if like he's getting like a live news update. Like, just say that. Yeah, exactly. God damn it, pal, say this. And then they do the match, and you're like, oh, Drake's maybe gonna get it back. And when they come back from the commercial break, this was the one time the commercial break thing worked. Where it was like, oh, I want to see Drake Maverick, see if he's gonna get the title. And when they come back, he just loses in like 1 second so fast.
One move,
which makes sense because in the WWE sphere, he's not a wrestler.
Right.
We know he's a wrestler, and obviously the wrestling world knows he's a wrestler, but like in the WWE universe, he's not. He's the GM on 205 Live, he's a manager.
Right.
So I thought it made sense, as much as I went like, oh, poor Drake, But then the rest of this segment, okay.
Yeah.
I want to say I laughed at all of it.
Yeah.
Wait. I'm skipping ahead. Wait.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there.
Hold on. I'm not.
That's a little bit later.
That's a little bit later.
Yeah.
So before we get to that, but this part, I loved it.
Yeah,
I liked, everything that was with R-Truth and Carmella and Drake.
Yeah.
I love everything going on with 24/7.
Do you think Miz is enjoying himself, man?
I think so.
He's able to play he's such a utility player now. It's really interesting.
Much like Seth Rollins, I think that he's like a.
But Seth doesn't have a show.
No,
Miz
what
has
I
a
mean
show,
is like I think that he's very much like involved in his character.
Yes.
He's a company man.
Right.
He's making lots of money. Seems very satisfied.
Yeah.
Seems like a very satisfied dude. He's happy with his life. I mean, he's literally. I know a lot of people are like living their dream, but he's really living his dream. Where like he wanted to be a WWE star.
Yep.
Some people wanted to be a wrestler. He wanted to be a WWE star.
Right. Whatever it took. Yeah. Well, let's move on here. Roman Reigns and Shane McMahon, speaking of Miz, they took on Drew McIntyre in this handicap match, which apparently had been announced in Stomping Grounds. I've never seen a match announced, I don't think, at Raw at a pay-per-view. So it was weird to see that being announced at Stomping Grounds backstage.
The worst part about it when they announced it backstage was like, on commentary, when Roman Reigns beat Drew McIntyre, it was like, well, you know what this means? This means they're officially done. He's put them down. The big dog's moving on. He's done with Shane McMahon. Goodbye, Shane O'Mac. Goodbye, Drew McIntyre. Roman Reigns is done with you. And then and I'm like, oh, thank God. And then 5 minutes later, they're like, it's 2-on-1. By the way, 2-on-1 match. And I'm like, oh, you lying son of a bitches.
Well, it went down here, and pretty much what you expected happened. Eventually, the numbers caught up to Reigns, but then out of nowhere, maybe the surprise of the long. I mean, I don't know, for weeks, the biggest surprise I've seen in WWE. The Undertaker shows up. I had no idea. I didn't read anything on the internet.
I had no idea he was going to be there.
Wow. So when he pops up, what a great moment. And he kicked some ass. I loved it. It was way better than the Goldberg shit. Completely washed the taste out of your mouth from that. Took care of McIntyre in a believable way. Took care of Shane in a believable way. And that tongue was doing some extra work last night. So I was a big fan of everything Taker. And I bet he put a little more energy into this because he really wanted to kind of like wash that Goldberg shit out of people's heads. It did a great job.
Well, since you say that, I this is with zero inside.
Sure.
This is pure speculation.
Okay.
That I'm gonna obviously ask around about, but I'm almost wondering if because it's Extreme Rules.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm almost wondering if he was like called up Vince and say like, put me in a program for the next pay-per-view. I don't want that to be what people remember. And they're like, okay, big dog who's like the guy, and Drew McIntyre, who Undertaker respects the hell out of. They'll take care of him.
Yeah.
They'll put him in a dope match. They'll do what should have been done at Super Showdown and like taking care of veteran and putting him into a great match. helping him put on a great match
with the owner's son.
With the owner's son,
it makes so much sense.
Who also has history with the Undertaker.
Exactly.
So, okay, before I get to the Undertaker stuff,
sure.
The match itself, first in Extreme Rules, it sucked because I felt bad because there were such bangers that were going on in the pay-per-view.
You mean Stomping Grounds?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I meant Stomping Grounds. Sorry.
Yes.
So many pay-per-views. Stomping Grounds.
Yeah.
Their match Stomping Grounds. It was rough for them because they had to follow a lot of bangers.
Yeah.
And they were getting boring chants right away. But I do think, I do feel like they turned them around by the end of the match and had them going by the end of the match. They had turned them around. There was no more boring. People were invested.
Yep. I was off my phone by the end of the match.
Me too.
Yeah. At the beginning of the match, I was like checking Twitter and social media, whatever. And then by halfway through, I was like, put it down. I was like, oh, this is turning into a good match.
My thing, I'm trying. Who knows if I'll continue. I'm saying it out loud and telling people, so I hopefully continued it. But I'm trying to run and work out a little bit while watching wrestling now.
Cool, man.
So that way, I'm sitting there anyways, and it's probably better for me than tweeting. So I mean, I still tweet sometimes, but more selective tweeting because I'm running or whatever. And so this was the match at Stomping Grounds. This was the match where I started.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, of course, this is the match where I start. I have to pay full attention to this one, And I was kind of in the beginning, and I did grab my phone even while running, and then but by the end, they really had me invested in the match. This one was fine for what it was. It did bother me a little bit that you mentioned the thing, 6 months ago or whatever it was when they said things are going to be different. Not 6 months ago, a few months ago when they said things are going to change or whatever. And now Shane McMahon is 100% just doing what Baron Corbin was booked to do
basically.
at this time.
Yeah.
But, the match was what it was. But the Undertaker moment, dude, I was not expecting that at all. I thought it was going to be Bray Wyatt when that happened because they I don't know if you noticed this, but in 2 moments last night during the show, in backstage segments where someone was walking and they do those hall shots or whatever.
Oh yeah,
they had the puppets.
Yeah.
They're there now.
Because there was no funhouse.
No, there was no funhouse last night. But the
that
puppets,
means he's getting closer.
He's getting closer, and the puppets are now in WWE. They're backstage and stuff,
So it's confirmation that this maybe the fight was still in his head, but the puppets are real.
True.
In his mind, so he's using them.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
And so I thought for sure, since they had the puppets there, that this was going to be the reintroduction of Bray Wyatt. And I was like, wow, he's coming back as a good guy to help Roman Reigns, even though that tag team they did that one time was fire when they were a team. But that's what I thought it was. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm into this. And then when it was Undertaker, I was like, what? Hell yeah. I was in my living room just yeah. And just like you said as well, this is how you use the Undertaker. I'm sorry, the Goldberg thing, I'm cool. I get it. I'm an Attitude Era kid, and I should be the target demo, and I didn't care about it. No. This is how I want to see the Legend used. Against guys now. I don't need to see 2 really old guys trying to put on a good match. I want to see guys who are top caliber talent helping these guys so that their weaknesses aren't shown and instead that their strengths are accentuated. And so this was awesome. When the lights went out and Shane was already on the top of the coast to coast and he did the chokeslam. That chokeslam looked dope too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He showed up. Taker showed up.
Yeah, and also, Drew McIntyre, in the interviews that I've heard of him, he speaks so highly of The Undertaker. And I know that a lot, obviously, everyone in wrestling speaks highly of The Undertaker, but he, in his first run he was on the roster with The Undertaker when it was a different time. When Drew was still the chosen one and stuff. And so he talks about some of the advice Undertaker gave him and how it never even clicked in him some of the things that Taker had told him until after he was out of WWE. Right. And then he came back and he's tried to keep some of those things and live that way to be a WWE superstar.
Right.
And just in the interview he did with Sam Roberts, Sorry, I got a weird text there. So what was I just talking about?
We were talking about McIntyre.
So I am pumped to see that Drew McIntyre is also involved in the program with Undertaker. I also think it makes sense that he would help Roman Reigns. Yeah. Roman Reigns took him to the limit at WrestleMania, and he doesn't like seeing that Shane's just running amok again, and so he's like, no, I'm going to come back and I'm going to help the big dog in this battle.
It works. It totally works. I loved it. It was great to see.
Great.
And the fans loved it.
They were going nuts.
Because there are certain people that when they show up, they are worth waiting for. And when they do it, you react so strongly to them.
And I also think it shows as to why you don't necessarily, sometimes with Undertaker appearances, they go like, oh, the dead man's going to be here next week.
Right.
Then you take away that awesome moment of the lights going out.
Yep.
When the lights go out and you hear that gong or whatever, like that's one of those moments. It's just like the glass shattering or those you smell. It's like the same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, you see here how awesome it is when that happens.
Agreed. Well, something that wasn't that awesome. Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley had a tug-of-war match here in the middle of the ring for some unknown reason. This was really lame, and it was just serving a point to promote Lashley as some kind of possible beater of Strowman, but it was basically filler.
Yeah, definitely basically filler. I'm bummed because I was gonna try and beat the filler with additional filler on our end since we did the arm wrestling last time. While
you were gonna bring a tug-of-war?
While I was waiting to record, I was searching the office for a rope that we could play tug-of-war with, and then I couldn't find one anywhere. And then I go to Thad and I'm like, hey, do you have any like rope in here somewhere? And he like starts to respond, and I'm like, actually, I should clarify, like really strong rope, not just like really thin rope because it's for tug-of-war. And he was like, wait, you need tug-of-war rope? Like, I don't know if we have tug-of-war rope here somewhere, Ryan. He's like, there's a Home Depot down the street. I was like, well, it's not that serious. I wanted to show how strong I am and get some comeback for,
Wow.
I needed some redemption for that loss in the arm wrestling when he cheated.
Wow. He runs a couple of miles in front of a TV and he thinks he can do a tug-of-war now. Look at this guy. Get out of here with that shit. We'll do it. Maybe we'll do it as a social video. That would be fun. But I'm 236, man. That's tough to yank. I'm just letting you know.
He'd beat me.
Come on.
I don't have faith.
What are we doing with this Lashley Strowman thing, though, man?
I don't know.
Because
it's one of the weaker things going on in WWE right now.
McIntyre's getting elevated back to the top. We see Strowman kind of dancing around down here, which is unfortunate because you want more from him.
Agreed. And it's frustrating because it's almost like he's starting to. It's almost like he's starting to dip into Ryback territory where they've like lost interest suddenly, and it sucks because like Ryback, Braun Strowman was on top, on track to become the top thing in the company, and then they just like it wasn't what they wanted at the time, and now he's just like lost in the fray. He's more so like Big Show even, but like Big Show at least had title runs before that happened. Like he had title runs, he was top guy, he was main part of the company for a long time, and then he kind of got lost, sometimes heel, sometimes face, but he was the big guy they could just use, whatever. And I get it, he's utility, whatever, but I think that Braun Strowman should be used in as a bigger deal. He shouldn't be on the level, he shouldn't be on the same level as Lashley. He should be beating Lashley. He should be dominant guy.
Yeah, he should be out there, but I mean, there's no titles for him to go for.
There's like 100 titles in WWE.
No, because he's a face, right? So they can't really put him in the thing with Rollins.
There's like 100 titles.
Yeah, okay, fair.
There's 13 titles.
I think when Lesnar wins the title back from Rollins, I think after they do their little mini program, Strowman slides in there. That would be Lesnar Strowman would be great to see.
I'm into that, but I don't think that's what's gonna happen.
You don't think so?
No, dude. I think Brock's gonna cash in against Kofi.
What?
Yeah.
But if Kofi wins that would be fantastic. Is that the end of he doesn't deserve to be champion or he's not a real champion?
I just think that. I don't know. I feel like and this is just like pure speculation, obviously, but to me, the smart move is to have him cash in on the debut episode on Fox, which I think I mentioned here before.
Yeah, you did.
And then go into a program with Kofi because Brock being there every week like he was for Super Showdown or whatever in a program with Kofi, I feel like that would be. I feel like that would be cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, we finally got to see the Viking Raiders again. They took on Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, but before they did, there was a little backstage conversation there between AJ Styles and Gallows and Anderson. Once again, AJ reiterating, where's that Gallows Anderson I knew in Japan? Well, this time they pushed back on AJ and said, where's that AJ Styles we knew, blah, 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 which of course motivates him to take on later on down the road on this Raw Ricochet. But this is the match here with the Viking Raiders, and Viking Raiders got the victory here. It was a good match, but there was nothing I saw from Gallows and Anderson that like I saw from Taker. There's nothing I saw that, this feels like they're sliding into Ascension territory. No matter what they do, they keep sliding into Ascension territory, and I don't know their way out.
The way out is to actually take them seriously finally and put them with AJ or Finn and do the club for real in WWE and have them be a force. They're four popular wrestlers that have a huge faction. It would be like having the four horsemen all in WWE and never putting them together, you know, or the NWO. It's like they brought all of the NWO guys over and then never put them together as the NWO. It'd be silly, you know? So I don't know. I think that, okay, so first the interview part. I did laugh. I thought it was funny that he's like cutting this promo, AJ, and then you just hear No Way Jose's music ominously in the background, and they're just like standing there dancing with him. Did make me laugh. I enjoyed that.
And then AJ's like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? He's like an angry dad, you know? The match itself, I liked the match. I didn't have a problem with the match. I thought that, you know, there was good stuff in it. I did like when Corey Graves said a machine gun like hands from Carl Anderson, which made me laugh because he used to be, you know, machine gun. So here's the thing with it though. If this is just for the Japan show, because they have a show coming up in Japan and it's Triple H, AJ Styles, Anderson and Gallows versus 4 other guys. I forget who their opponents are, but it's like the club versus with Triple H versus whoever. And so if this is just to like promote that show, I don't love this.
No,
because I don't think this is doing them any favors.
This was just a level above a squash match.
Well,
thing was so quick.
But also I just feel like it's like to point out that like, oh, they've gotten complacent, or, oh, you know, they're not winning like they used to. They're not the same people they were when they were in Japan. If this is being done because they're actually going to give them a dedicated push, great. But the like rumor mill is that these guys want to leave. These guys want to leave when their contracts are up at the end of the summer. So I don't know if this is being done to like, hey, we'll take you seriously now. And they're trying to do like what they did with Dean Ambrose before almost like get to them before they say like, no, we're not re-signing, and kind of like get, you know, like, well, look, now you're a thing. I don't know if that's what they're trying to do, or they're trying to like demean them on the way out with these segments of like, you're not what you used to be. So really on this one, I'm kind of like waiting to reserve judgment because it really just depends on how it shakes out. Because what I would like to see is, and this probably won't happen, but what I'd like to see is them get fed up with AJ Styles, and then Finn Balor attacks AJ Styles, and he's like, you were never the leader of the club. I was always the leader of the club. Like, you were a wannabe me. And then, like, you don't have to maybe turn Finn heel, but give him, like, an edge, kind of like Becky had for a while, where he just doesn't give a fuck. And he's just talking shit, you know, doing a thing. And I honestly think he'd be way more over than he is right now if he was doing, like, his edgy kind of, like, what he used to do in Bullet Club kind of stuff.
I don't disagree with you. We'll see how this plays out, because they certainly pushed Viking Raiders, giving them that victory. That's the team on the ascendancy, where the Good Brothers are on the team on the descendancy. So
did you like, has he had that helmet with the hair always?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but it looked, I didn't like it. It wasn't just me, right?
No, it was weird.
Okay.
I was like, okay.
I like it. It was as if like it looked like someone wearing a wig that like didn't want you to notice it or something. It was like weird. I don't know. It was interesting.
Didn't one of them just get married to Nikki Cross, or is that the wrong people?
No, wrong people.
Oh, wrong people. Okay.
That's Killian Dane.
Oh, Killian Dane, right. He looks Sanity.
He looks similar to...
Apologies, right.
To Hansen,
Killian Dane,
or whatever he is.
the other guys.
Eric or whatever.
All right, now we're at that section of the show where that Ryan was excited about, the 24/7 situation coming back. Mojo Rawley having his promo with Hawkins there. Then they go out there, and before they even get their match going, of course, the 24/7 thing interrupts. Multiple people win that title before R-Truth wins it back and runs out with Carmella. But for just a brief moment, we had EC3 having the belt. We had Hawkins winning the belt. We had...
no, not Hawkins. Slater.
Heath Slater winning the belt. And
Cedric Alexander.
And Cedric as well,
Was that it?
I think that was it.
I think that was it,
3
too.
title changes.
Yeah, I think that was it, too.
But EC3 showed you what he could do if you give him a second. That move of his was fantastic on the outside on the ring.
Yeah, that was his finisher for a long time.
Please, for the love of God, give him something to do. This is so goddamn frustrating.
So that's what I was going to say here is, okay.
None of those wrestlers, maybe besides Cedric, belong in EC3's class, in my opinion.
Here's what I was going to say about it. Okay, as a whole, I loved this segment. I laughed the whole time. It was entertaining. Good television. The 24/7 title stuff was fun. I very much enjoyed it, right? But picking it apart wise, looking long-term type stuff, I agree with you in the sense that I feel like you could have used different people in some of these positions, because I feel like Cedric Alexander is not a comedy guy.
Yeah.
You know, and this title is great for the comedy guys, the Drake Mavericks, the Heath Slaters, the R-Truth,
right?
You know, all those people, and there's a bunch more that this caters to them. Like, this is what they would be perfect for. Even like a No Way Jose or all those types
Jinder,
of people.
yeah.
You know, all those, the Jinders.
Yeah.
There's people that this is catered towards. But to me, I don't think the young, fresh, up-and-coming talent should be lumped in with this zombie of people, you know, that are after the 24/7 title all the time. And, you know, in the short moments that Cedric Alexander and EC3 were involved in this segment, like you said, it showed why they shouldn't really be involved in these segments. You know, he was like that. He cool move when he does lumbar check and EC3 doing the 1%er thing, like. All that stuff. I was like, you know, this is supposed to be a fun title, not necessarily like a wrestling thing. And I feel like there are better ways to be using Cedric Alexander and EC3 in the short amount of time they've been on the roster to get them over. You know, this to me makes it look like they're on the level of guys who are kind of like looking for something to do, which I guess they are, but it doesn't do anything for their long run value. They should be putting on dope matches, which they both have the capability of doing. And so do the other guys.
Yeah, of course.
But the other guys' strengths, plural, is comedy.
Right.
You know, and yes, EC3 is a funny guy, but I don't know if that's his strength.
Right.
He's funny because he's a very strong heel character or a face character if you want him to be. So yeah, if I wasn't looking at the specific people cast in the certain roles to be involved in this part, if I'm just looking at the part as a whole, I loved it. I cracked up. I just feel like some of these guys should be in better positions.
Is EC3, I mean, is Cedric Alexander a wild card because it's coming from 205 Live?
Did you notice? And maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. No, Cedric Alexander, he got moved.
To Raw?
Yeah, he got moved to Raw in the Superstar Shakeup, which they just haven't used him once. Remember he had that match with Cesaro when he moved over?
Oh, right, yeah.
And then they haven't really used him since, and that match was a banger.
It was.
Which, weird they wouldn't put another one after to follow up with it. Anyways, I got lost. Did you notice last night? I could be wrong, but I saw this on Reddit too. I could be wrong, but I don't think they said the word wild card rule once last night.
Oh, I don't think they did either. I don't recall it being said at all.
Because they have like, I think, way more than the norm. Like, because there's Kofi, there was Daniel Bryan, there was Rowan, there was
like, just don't say it.
New Day. There was, that's already 5. And I think there was more than that if you continue counting. Lacey's Raw.
Lacey was, right.
Becky's Smackdown.
So
6. There's a bunch more. From what I saw on Reddit, and I could be wrong, but I don't think they mentioned the wild card rule once last night.
Which
is crazy.
I guess
that's another one that like they're just gonna pretend like we don't remember, and now they're just gonna drop that all together. Like, what? You gotta come on.
Can I tell you one thing was a little strange? Watching the Alexa Bliss thing, Vince still colors his hair. When he was sitting in that gorilla position behind the monitor at the first 10 minutes of that Alexa Bliss, I was like, oh man, why? You run the company, brother. You could be as gray as you want to be. Nobody cares.
Yeah, but look
You're
at him.
Vince.
Look at him.
But you run it.
He clearly cares about vanity.
He looks more ridiculous with it than he did without it.
He literally is in a business that's built around vanity. Of course he dyes his hair still.
Oh, okay, I guess. But you're Vince. You run it.
He even tells guys like Kevin Nash that if you're going to come back, you have to dye your hair black. You can't have gray hair here. So it does not surprise me in the slightest bit.
I understand if you're wrestling. I don't understand if you run the company.
Sometimes he's on TV.
I will be gray as hell if I run my company making billions of dollars.
I won't be there.
Kiss my ass.
If I'm that age making billions of dollars, I would not be there.
Oh yeah, that's fair too. That's absolutely fair.
Go enjoy your life, bro.
Here you go, Paul. I'm getting out of here. Yeah, exactly. No, exactly.
Here's the keys to the kingdom. I'm literally going to be on vacation the rest of my life.
People like this, though, they love that power. They need that power to breathe.
But if you have a revenue stream coming in always, like to me, if that revenue stream is going to go away, that's one thing.
Of course.
But there's such an infrastructure in place where that's not going to go away until he's dead.
Yeah.
He could literally just not dye his hair, not work out, and just go enjoy the rest of his life doing whatever. But I mean, that maybe sounds, it's probably boring to him. That sounds boring.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's a lifer. Like a regular, he's a lifer in the business.
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Retiring sounds awesome.
Yeah, doesn't it though? All right, Kofi Kingston. We did Kofi Kingston, Sami Zayn, and then Kofi Kingston, Kevin Owens for some reason right afterwards. But he took care of Sami Zayn actually kind of quicker than I thought.
It's because of this edict thing where they didn't want to have wrestling during the commercials, so they split it up.
Oh, right. So
he wrestled Sami Zayn,
the match quickly.
Finished the match, and then when they came back, it's like, oh, now another match instead of having a 2-segment match,
where
you'd come back during the commercial break, which is weird. It's weird.
It felt disjointed. And I was like, okay, if we're going to do this is an interesting choice. But in the long run, I didn't like it at all. I thought the match with Kevin Owens was better than the match with Sami Zayn because I had a little more time to breathe. But in the end, he beat them both, which is pretty incredible. So how many more times?
Well, what's also frustrating in my opinion because you go like, they beat the New Day at Stomping Grounds.
Right.
And now they both lost.
Yeah.
So 2 losses for that team.
Right.
You instantly like went 1 step forward, 2 steps back on them. Like, you know, it was great, but they won. And then honestly, their promo at the top of the stage was hilarious too.
The promo was great.
Sammy's hilarious.
Yeah.
Sammy's some of his facial impressions. It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, is it already 11:30? Shit.
Yeah, we got to roll.
But yeah, no,
we
sorry.
started late though.
Oh, we started late. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I liked it, but I feel like 1 step forward, 2 steps back type thing when they lose like that, and it is confusing.
And I don't think it pushed Kofi in the way they intended.
No, I don't think
because the matches.
I don't think any of these weird commercial breaks have helped anyone.
Yeah, because I liked his match against Ziggler at Stomping Grounds. What an inventive ending.
Loved it.
Oh my God. My girlfriend had come home, sits down, watches this, and she goes, why doesn't he just jump out the cage? And I go, well, it's not the way it works, babes. You have to fight within the cage to build the drama, and then eventually someone, and when he did it, she goes, see? And then walked out of the room. I literally was like, I hate you from the living room. She was laughing her ass off.
Your girlfriend's better at predicting wrestling than you are, apparently.
She really is. She's the best. That's why I'm with her. And it doesn't emasculate me. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Alexa Bliss now took on Naomi, and then all of a sudden in a tag match with Natalya and Naomi, with Nikki Cross against Natalya and Naomi, there had been a bit of banter backstage.
No, it wasn't a tag match.
Wasn't a tag match?
No, it was the same thing. It was Alexa Bliss versus Naomi.
That's what I mean. And then it was Alexa and Nikki versus Natalya.
Oh, yeah, it switched into a tag match. Yeah.
Switched to a tag. But in the back, there was conversation because Natalia and Naomi, or Natalya rather, and Naomi were trying to convince Nikki that Alexa's bad news and blah, blah, blah. Nikki didn't, says no. And then Alexa came in. Then they all got in each other's faces, which is what sparked this.
Which I'm into. I liked it.
Yeah. I like anything with Naomi getting to wrestle is great. So, yeah, exactly.
Hands up emojis.
Her and Alexa have a decent match here. Then the tag match, which was fun, but in the end, I don't know what this accomplished.
And that's the same thing. You go like, okay, who did it say there? Who took the pin in this match?
Yeah, Bliss defeated Naomi by pinfall. Then Bliss and Cross defeated Naomi and Natalya by pinfall.
I don't know. I forget exactly.
Natty took the pin for
Natty took the pinfall the second time. So Naomi the first time.
Yep.
Then Natty
and Nikki pinned Natty.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. To me, it's just confusing from a viewer standpoint. You go like, hey man, like I know the like rules and constructs of the WWE universe, and all of a sudden like a wrestler can just make a match themselves. There's no like, hold on a second, player, now it's a tag match, nothing like that. There's just like all of a sudden, okay, we've decided, even though I already won.
Yeah.
Now I want to do another match, even though WWE just did a special on me, talking about my terrible concussions that I'm in, and now they're putting me in back-to-back matches that I booked myself. It's confusing.
Yeah,
I feel like the 2-segment matches were fine. Nobody there was literally no. It's kind of like when they said like we're making these changes, and then they said no more automatic title rematches, and you go like, whose complaint was that? That's not the thing that we were complaining about.
Yeah.
Oh, too many automatic title rematches ruining the show for me.
Only the Schmodown fans complain about that. Anyway, go ahead.
So yeah, this was another one where you go like, who was watching this and going,
right?
The problem is
2-segment
matches.
Yeah, 2-segment matches.
That's why people aren't tuning in all the time.
Immediate rematches. What the hell?
What the hell?
Make room for other people.
Exactly. If anything, if you're gonna do short matches like that, I want to see more wrestlers that you're leaving in the back.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do short matches, cool. More squash matches, then fine. If that's what you want, and the big matches are on pay-per-view, cool.
Right.
But more wrestlers, not the same person back to back with no real rhyme or reason. And they tried. I know they tried, but.
Well, I also think it's different because you're asking them to fight 2 different people back to back. It's not like one person the whole time for a 30-minute match. Because my argument is that you're putting more stress on the athletes.
Yeah.
Especially the one who's fighting in 2 matches back to back. Because you're making them adjust styles and find new chemistry with the other person.
Also,
and it could lead to injury.
Also, work an interesting second match.
Yes.
You already worked a first match. Now you got to work Now you have those wrestlers who are already working insane hours. Now they're having to do 2 matches, having to work out 2 matches in there. I don't know. It seems not necessary.
And Naomi took both the losses, which isn't a positive.
So it was Naomi that took both the losses.
Well, I mean, she was on the team that lost.
Okay,
and she also got pinned. In the first one. So to me, it's like, whatever. Look, I love that Alexa's back, but she's not some world beater. And I hate when they have her win matches quickly because it's bullshit.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
You got to give her long matches, which is why that match with Bayley was fantastic at Stomping Grounds. My God, Bayley was incredible in that
Great match.
Very happy she won, and I hope she keeps that title for a while. All right, Ricochet and AJ Styles are our last match of the evening. This was a fun-ass match, really great back and forth. Had no idea AJ was going to win this thing. I thought for sure Ricochet was going to win this thing, and it was going to lead to a Good Brothers versus AJ, like a bitch off between each other, saying, you both lost or you lost too.
I thought for sure too.
But in the end, AJ wins, then picks up Ricochet, shakes his hand. So AJ is still a face for now, but certainly they seem to have been laying the groundwork that he was going to go heel with the Good Brothers. But no, either way, this was a great match. Good way to end the Raw.
Yeah, so fantastic match. Yeah. That finish was awesome.
Yes. Oh my God.
The way he like slid into the pin just looked so cool. I'm sure it wasn't like on purpose because that's not how he always does it. But regardless, it looked awesome.
Yeah, it looked badass.
I do feel like, and it's probably due to AJ just being injured, and he's just this was his first match back in the main event of Raw against one of the top talent in the world. I think that it felt a little off in the beginning. In the beginning, I felt like there's a few moments they were kind of missing each other. It felt a little choreographed in some moments. Okay. But obviously, they're both two of the best wrestlers in the world. So I think after like a little bit, it picked up. I think after
it got there.
I think after the Good Brothers came out and they had that awkward moment once again where they had to figure out a reason to go to commercial without wrestling happening. I'm gonna wait until you get back there to start wrestling. And then I think it really picked up when it came back from the commercial after that weird awkward break that like sucked the air out of the room, and also set up what you thought too. It set up a not clean finish. However, I do think that they're trying to get the message across, clearly based on all these Seth Rollins things, that WWE has the best wrestling in the world. So they wanted to put 2 of the best wrestlers in the main event, didn't want to have a dirty finish. They wanted to kind of like show that they have great wrestling, I'm imagining. So, I liked the match. I agree with you, though. I think that it would have made more sense if the club got involved at the end because it had been set up. I also feel like, Ricochet is clearly being set up to be a player. I don't know if starting his title reign off with a loss really helps him. However, it was against AJ Styles. So it's like you can't be mad that he lost to AJ Styles, who's a legend in wrestling at this point, former WWE champion, one of the longest ones. So it's like you can't be mad at it, but I just don't know if you had to do this match.
Agreed. But it kind of pushes Ricochet more. It does. Like you said, he's not good on the mic. So, or
that promo wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad, but he's not great on the mic. He's not gonna be known for his mic skills. And so you got to get him in the ring against great talent.
You got to get it. He hasn't had a lot of time to flex that muscle.
Exactly. But what muscle he does have, the big muscle he does have is in-ring ability. So you got to put him up against people who are going to work really well with him. Cesaro, Samoa Joe match was surprisingly damn good. And then this match here today as well. Oh, and speaking
I was just going to say, we didn't even talk about that.
We shouldn't miss that. The Samoa Joe.
We're going to have so many people talking about Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe Kofi.
I was bummed at Stomping Grounds. I go it's really because we talked about it. I was surprised that Ricochet won the United States title.
Me too.
But I was thinking in my head, oh man, if they're doing that, I'm hoping it's to transition him into a program with Kofi now because Kofi needs a new opponent. The Dolph Ziggler thing has run its course, even though the cage match was fun.
It was.
And so, I loved Joe coming out and attacking Kofi. That's going to be a really good program.
Yeah, and this makes sense because if you look at the lineage here, you're looking at Ziggler, you're looking at Kevin Owens, you're looking at Sami Zayn, you're looking at Samoa Joe. These are all guys that kind of got their starts in indie places, where Ricochet made his bones as well as a legend. People spoke about Ricochet, and then when he showed up at NXT, people lost their freaking minds because they had come to know him either on YouTube or the internet somewhere or going to see him in matches. So to see him now be in this position where he's fighting dudes, and Cesaro too, who make their bones in, Kofi, who make their bones in that area, it's good to see. So for Kofi, it's great to fight all these independent guys because it kind of gives him even more credibility with that section of the fandom who is probably complaining that Kofi was handed the belt. Like everyone's handed the belt, hate to break it to you, but like he was handed the belt for whatever reason, because he's black or whatever you want to say. But I think He's fought some fantastic matches. He's earned the respect, I hope so, of the wrestling fans. And putting him in progressively stronger and stronger programs with stronger and stronger opponents is a great idea.
And so that's how you build up to get to the Brock thing.
Right.
Exactly.
You're probably 100% right.
He's
man.
like building this resume of like beating all the workhorses, but now he's got to beat like the work beast.
Yeah. You know? That's a good point. And I look forward to that if that really happens. Kofi and Lesnar, Lord God Almighty, that'll be awesome. All right, well, that's our Raw recap for this Raw episode of Raw. Hope you appreciate it here on the Pro Wrestling Sheet. Ryan, tell them where they can find, read, and watch everything we do.
ProWrestlingSheet.com. That's the website where you can find all the top stories in the world of professional wrestling throughout the week. At Wrestling Sheet on social media. YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. That's where you can find all the videos that we do. We got the Raw and Smackdown recaps. We got Wrestling Sheet Radio on Thursday where we're going to talk about all this Seth Rollins, Will Ospreay stuff and a bunch more. So make sure you guys go check it out. YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. If you're there, hello. Thank you. I appreciate you watching on there. I hope you liked our faces the whole time. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on there, and make sure while you're there, you guys subscribe to the channel. You like the video. If you liked it, don't dislike it. That's just dick.
Come on.
But leave comments. I read them all. I've been getting better at responding to some of them. So go make sure you guys go do that. But if you don't want to watch us, if you just want to listen to us while you're driving or working out or cooking or whatever, you want to check us out via podcast on all the big podcast platforms. You got Podcast One, Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, all the good stuff, Google Play, all of them. Just search for Wrestling Sheet Radio.
There you go. You can follow him at Ryan Satin. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And we'll see you tomorrow with another episode of the SmackDown Live recap here on the Pro Wrestling Sheet.
ProWrestlingSheet.com